Welcome to the Financial Freedom Podcast, where we interview remarkable people and share strategies for mastering money and living a meaningful life. With your host, Grant Sabatier, creator of Millennial Money and author of Financial Freedom, a proven path to all the money you will ever need.
Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. Very excited today to have Logan Leckie, who is one of the co-founders of Topia, the financial independence tracking app that I invested in and now have also joined on as co-founder. So I've known Logan now for over a year when he reached out with the idea to build Topia, really to meet a need in the market of helping anyone on their financial independence journey use an app to track their path to financial independence and also accelerate it as opposed to using spreadsheets and a lot of the calculators that are very popular out there. The fact that there's not a financial independence app on the market until today is absolutely mind-blowing to me. I know a number of people have tried it over the years, but it's really important when launching any type of product to find that product market fit. I think now is the perfect time for a financial independence tracking app, both the ability to integrate your bank accounts and analyze that data, as well as just what's possible with technology and the need are all meeting together. So very excited to have Logan on the show today and make the official announcement that Topia is now available to download in the Apple Store as well as the Google Play Store. Just search for Topia. If you can't find the links, check out topia-app.com. That's TOPIA-app.com to find all the download links. Download it. It's completely free. Check it out. Reach out to us. We're going to dive into the app today, talk about a bunch of the features, how it came to be, as well as what we are most excited about for the app. Hey, Logan, welcome to the show.
Hi, Grant, and hi, everyone. Really excited to be on it, and I'm really excited to announce the launch of Topia with you.
So, dude, take us back to when you first had the idea for Topia. Why did you want to build this app?
So the idea really came from, I discovered FI probably about 4 years ago, and I became one of those kind of hyper-passionate people about FI. And the real kind of raw ingredients of Topia very much stem from the fact that I spent a lot of my spare time telling my friends, telling my family about this new discovery I made, which was FI, and it was very much, hey guys, I discovered this thing called financial independence, and I've been reading about it loads. I've been seeing other people do it. Like it's possible. Like people are doing it, and just spending a lot of time talking about it and trying to get everyone else on the kind of FI wagon. And what I'd find more times, what happened more and more time after time, was that when I'd go back to the people I told, when I went back to my close friends and family and said, guys, did you read that blog I told you about? Did you get started? Have you done this? Have you done that? 9 times out of 10, the answer would be, Logan, it sounded great. It really sounded great, but I just got a bit stuck here, or I just didn't quite understand this calculation, or this kind of blog I read just sounded a bit too complex. So the real ingredients behind Topia were a combination of just this big passion for FI and the huge positive externalities it can have on someone's life, combined with a lot of people really close to me struggling to get started. And I just thought, why isn't there an easier way to help people get started and then to help them optimize their journey? And I've always had a bit of an entrepreneurial flair within me, and thought I'd put 2 and 2 together to try and build this tool which would help, hopefully millions of people on their FI journey and get to FI as soon as possible.
So Logan just recently visited me. We sat down at my dining room table and dug into all the amazing growth plans for the app, which was super exciting to both meet him in person as well as just plan out the future of this platform and this technology. One of the things I'm most excited about is that Topia is free for users. We wanted to make this as accessible as possible, and that's really been a challenge to do by not taking on external funding. So a couple months ago, a large venture capital firm reached out to Logan wanting to invest in Topia. But Logan, you actually said no to the big paycheck. Why did you do that? And why has funding this through friends and family and just close connections been important to you?
For sure. So I think, as I said, there's a really powerful mission behind Topia, and I think there are so many great attributes to the FI community, and a big ethos I wanted to contain within Topia is being really kind of true to our purpose and true to our vision. And what I found speaking to other founders, other startups who had taken on big venture capital checks, is that you do lose a bit of decision-making ability, and you do just lose that edge as a founder. And, I think if we had taken on that external funding, then, how we make money and our monetization strategy would have been completely different to what it is now. So it's very much about staying true to who I am and who Topia is, and really just building an app which does what it says on the tin, which is help people reach FI, and being able to stay true to that was key in us actually declining that big venture capital offer.
So when I was working towards financial independence, I was one of the proverbial pursuers who had their spreadsheets. I had my Google sheet. I eventually built a couple of calculators, but I always wanted an app. And that was something that I would have loved to have had in 2019 when Financial Freedom came out. Instead, I had 11 calculators came out with the book. But the calculators, while they've been used by hundreds of thousands of people around the world, they still fall short because you have to revisit them. You can't store any of your data, can't track anything, over a long period of time. But I always found just the barrier to creating an app was so high, both in integrating bank accounts and developing an app. And now I know you've been working on Topia, for 2 years? How long, when did you first start actually building the app? I know I've been involved for about a year and seen this progression, but can you share with the audience just when you started this and just how challenging it has been to actually put this technology together and how much effort has been put into the app?
Yeah, sure. So more or less 2 years I've been working on this, and I think with all things, it started quite small, and then slowly I started building up more and more momentum. And I think one thing I did at the very beginning of the journey was just spent a huge amount of time kind of validating the idea and validating that people in the FI community would get value from an app, and that there was space and room in the market for an app like Topia. So that revolved a huge amount of time speaking to people from the FI community, understanding their pain points, understanding what sort of things Topia could do to help accelerate their time to FI. So that was a big portion at the beginning, and to manage kind of my risk, because starting up any startup and venture, there's a lot of risk. So I did a lot of that while in my previous job working in finance. And I think I ended up speaking to about 200 people in the FI community. And when I say speaking to, literally 20-minute calls, taking them through mock-ups of Topia, taking them through different ideas I had, and just listening and just absorbing their pain points and just trying to find that unmet need in the market, which you referenced there, Grant. So that was a big chunk of it. And then building the beta and slowly iterating it and bringing in the open banking tech and just evolving Topia over the next year was where I spent a huge amount of my time. And I think one thing I can hold my hand up and say I've done is just constantly listening to our users, always on the phone, on Zoom calls to them, finding out how we can improve it. And it's just these little tweaks and these little iterations which we've done over the last kind of 2 years have compounded. And now, as you said at the beginning of the podcast, we're in a position now where we're just so confident that we've got this tool. It's going to add a huge amount of value to a lot of people in the community.
Yeah, and just for the audience, the app allows you to track your net worth, your savings rate, your years to financial independence, a whole number of elements and important markers for your financial independence path. And not only does it integrate with all of your bank accounts, you can manually add different life events. It shows you where, based on your finances and your goals, where you're at in your financial independence journey. I love how it shows you what step you're on in the journey, and and then gives you specific recommendations that you should take at that step to get to the next step. I think that's one of the most powerful features of the app. And then there's a tinker layer where you can run different scenarios to help you make better financial decisions in your life. There is a whole lot of math behind Topia and how it calculates these numbers, how it tracks all of this data. Can you share with the audience the feature that you most enjoy using, Logan, or the one that you're most proud of creating?
Yeah, so it would definitely be the Tinker feature, which just enables you to kind of come onto Topia and very quickly play around and almost create different scenarios to see how that could impact your time to FI. And the reason I like this feature so much is because I've been staring at Topia for 2 years now, and even today when I go onto Tinker and play around with my numbers, I'm always just starstruck at how these tiny little changes I'm making have these huge exponential impacts on my time to FI, because as you all know, that power of compounding really does kind of pay the dividends later down the line. So that's an incredibly powerful tool. And again, if someone was to do that on an Excel spreadsheet or on an online calculator, it just would have been quite kind of an arduous process, and it's just not as crystal clear. And again, you can come onto Topia in just a couple of clicks of a button. What if I increase my savings rates by a couple of percent? What if I have a side hustle which brings me in a couple of $100? And it just plants this kind of seed of thought into me and I know into users who have used Tinker, just to say, oh wow, if I just did this little thing, this lifestyle change or this side hustle, if I just did that, it's going to have this huge impact. And then it just gets you thinking. And then the additional layer we put on top of Tinker, which I think just flows so beautifully, is this kind of Topia community, where if I'm tinkering around and I tinker and create an event, a life event, which is, if I have a side hustle which brings me in a couple of $100, wow, that's going to get me to FI 4 years sooner. You can then click through into the Topia community and you will end up in the side hustle section, where you have a lot of people speaking about the side hustles they've done, talking about what went well, what didn't go well. We've got these Topia mentors who are kind of side hustle experts who are interacting, helping you. So we plant the seed, and then we kind of fulfill our promise by having this big community and kind of knowledge base where you can actually talk and find out how to follow through and then execute on that side hustle. So for me, it's always Tinker.
So Logan, can you tell us a little bit about how Topia is different than Personal Capital and share some more information about the features?
Sure. So the way I've always used Personal Capital and kind of any other net worth tracker is they're great tools, but when you kind of apply them specifically to FI, they kind of sort of get the job done. And the way I always view them, and I've spoken to other people about this, is it's kind of like when you buy a DIY furniture set and it arrives and then you're using your screwdriver, and you don't want to go out and buy the specific screwdriver for the screws, and you're screwing away and it's kind of working, it's not quite working, but ultimately you're going to get the job done. And the way I view Topia is just a kind of perfect screwdriver for your FI journey. It's way more efficient, it gets the job done twice as fast, and that's the way we've kind of viewed it on a kind of high level viewpoint. And in terms of the nitty gritties of it, I think, there are three layers of Topia the way I view it. The first layer is the kind of net worth tracking. So you can plug in all your bank accounts, open banking, you're tracking your net worth, boom. Very similar to personal capital. The next layer is when just all the FI magic we kind of sprinkle on the app, and calculate your time to FI. We talk about stuff like Coast FI, Barista FI, Geo Arbitrage, all these things which are super kind of tailored to FI, creating the life events, tinkering around with your numbers, the Topia number, which Grant said. We're kind of use quite a lot of kind of clever analytics to pinpoint specifically where people are going wrong in the kind of different tax wrappers, all orientated at FI. And what I found doing all my research and speaking to all the users is people would use Personal Capital and then they would have to use something else, whether it's an online calculator, whether it's a spreadsheet, whether it's just a back of the napkin calculation, or just the blogs and podcast content. And we just want to build that kind of all-in-one, all-encompassing tool, which is Topia. So the second layer is very much FI specific, and then the layer on top of that is just all about that acceleration. Like, once you're on the journey, all I want to do and all Grant wants to do and all Topia wants to do is get you there, as quickly as possible within kind of reason. And it's all geared towards reducing your time to FI and avoiding making any kind of mistakes along the way. So that's always how I view the kind of differentiation between Topia and the other net worth trackers out there.
Yeah, one of the things I love too is just the dashboard, just how simple it is. So you can see your high-level FI scorecard. One of the things I want the audience to know is that Topia has actually been live in the UK for a little bit of time, and there are many thousands of users that use the app. So this announcement is that Topia is now available in the US in addition to the UK. So if you're listening to this in the UK, you can download Topia and use it as well as in the US. And the other thing that I'm really excited about is I've been an avid personal capital user for I think the last 7 years before they sold. It was extremely instrumental in my own financial independence journey, and we built Topia to be even better than personal capital and to be specifically designed for those key measurements on your financial independence journey. So I just wanted to shout that out to the audience that we view this as being very different than the other apps and technology on the market, and the fact that thousands of people are already using and getting value from this, and we've been able to learn from how they use it and get the most value and then reintegrate that into the next version of the app. So this isn't a beta where we're just starting from scratch just to see how people are using it. This is something that is already working and helping many people accelerate their financial independence journey across the pond. And now we're bringing it to the US. And in addition to launching Topia in the US, we're also going to be launching Logan Leckie himself, who's moving from the UK to the US. Can you talk a little bit about where you're at in your own journey as you take this next phase to launch here stateside?
For me, it's kind of a huge milestone in Topia's journey, being able to launch in the US and offer it to the huge US FI community. And I've always viewed kind of US as the kind of birthplace of FI. So for me, it was an easy choice to take the plunge, move over to the US to make sure that I can be part of the FI community. I can be there on the ground, again speaking to users, just really making sure that that Topia is adding value and helping people reach FI. So I did a trip, a couple of weeks, maybe even a month ago. Time flies, hey. Over to the US, or I saw Grant, met up with a couple of other people from the FI community, was kind of snooping around about where I could settle down, and it looks like I'll be heading to New York in about 2 months to be there permanently.
I just can't wait for people to download and use the app. And one of the important things about this is we developed this for the FI community. As I mentioned, it's free. We wanted to create as much value in your life as possible. We want it to be that go-to resource that, just like sharing your favorite blogs and podcasts and books with your friends who are FI curious or interested in how you're living your life, we want this app to be part of what you share. And so it's very important for us, in addition to adding value to your own life, that it's useful for people who are just discovering financial independence to be able to understand what each of these numbers mean and why your savings rate is so important, and how with every dollar that you're saving and investing, you're acquiring freedom. We actually have something called the Topia number, which is the days of freedom that you're acquiring, and allows you, with every purchase you make, to just open the app and check out how much freedom you're trading for it to make a decision whether or not it's worth it for you. But yeah, we created this so you can share it and bring others, on the journey. But, we really not only need your help getting the word out, we also want your feedback, because we want this to add as much value as possible. And so this is a in progress, always developing, always getting better app where we're going to be adding a bunch of new features down the road. There's already a very aggressive roadmap there, but we want to build things that are useful to you. So if there's an area that you think that we can improve on, please feel free to, reach out to me, Grant at GrantSabatier.com. Reach out to Logan at Topia, Topia-app.com. Those are our personal email addresses. We want to hear from you. We want to make this as strong as possible. And also, if you want to get involved, let us know. We need all the help that we can get. If you download the app and like it and get value from it, please leave us a review. In the early days, the reviews on the app stores are so important. We want Apple to see that people are using it and getting value from it. So please leave us a 5-star review if you're getting value from it, in addition to telling your friends. That would help us almost more than anything at this early stage. We want this to be available and reach as many people as possible. To learn more, check out Topia, Topia-app.com to get the download links. And yeah, reach out to us. Please do. We're building this for everybody. And this is one of the things that I am most proud of in my life, the fact that people now have a much easier way to reduce the friction on their path to acquiring more time and space and freedom in their life. So Logan, it's just been so impressive, and thank you for letting me be a part of this journey. And I'm so excited to see this impact hundreds of thousands of people's lives. Me too. And just to reiterate what Grant said there, I think, if you have any thoughts, feedback, just always reach out. The smallest bits of feedback can be so powerful in our roadmap. And the biggest thing in terms of what's got Topia to where we are today is just the unbelievable feedback we've had from the beta users, the people over in the UK, and that really is what powers us. And it's such an essential communication and kind of knowledge channel to make sure that we're heading in the right direction, because I can spend, X hours per day, per weekend staring at Topia, and sometimes you just get tunnel vision, and then you just hear one user just reach out and tell me their experience or tell me how they found it, and then it just completely kind of pivots. I'm like, oh yes, we should definitely do that, and then boom, we're off doing it. So yeah, reach out, me or Grant, we'll always get back to you. We're super keen to get as many people involved in our exciting journey ahead, and really excited for everyone to get their hands on Topia. Logan, thanks for coming on. Everyone check out the app, and I'll see you next week.